Stephen, just to start with you.
Yes.
So wrestling is an incredibly cinematic sport, but it's not really, there's not that many movies made about it. So I wanted to know, first of all, what kind of about the Knight family and about this story captured your imagination to make a film about it?
Well, I wish I could take credit, but as so many of the best things in life, this began with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We did a film together in 2010 called Tooth Fairy. You're welcome.
Stone Cold Classic.
And yeah, and I knew The Rock back in the days when he was, before he lost his physique, and we stayed in touch over the years. He was in England. He was filming Fast and Furious 6. And he was watching Channel 4 in a hotel room late at night. He never misses the Hollyoaks omnibus. And he saw this documentary. The documentary makers are here tonight. Thank you so much to them. They made a film about the Knight family. And he, coming from a wrestling family, responded to them and sort of fell in love with them and their story and ended up encountering, Paige in real life. And somewhere along the line thought this could be a good movie. I'm fairly sure he only knows 2 British people. It's me and Jason Statham. And he goes to Statham for charisma and upper body strength, and he goes to me for typing speed. And so we wanted the script turned around quickly, came to the merch man, and here we are.
Florence, first of all, congratulations on a stunning performance, really. I'm curious, did you meet Paige beforehand, before you took on the role?
No. So Paige and I actually only met like a month ago. But no, at the time that we started filming, we had like a month and a bit to prepare. And Paige was in America and she'd just suffered from a neck injury, so she couldn't fly. And like film sets are, it just kind of went straight into filming, and I couldn't get the opportunity to meet her. But we basically messaged, well, I harassed her every day. Aggressively harassed her every day. And then obviously I meet her and we've pretty much fell in love instantly.
Was there any particular challenge for you to play someone who was real, who was there, who you're talking to, and who you knew would be watching your performance?
I think the whole thing was a challenge. I think playing a wrestler is pretty mega in itself. It's not something I thought I'd be doing, especially not now. And then also, it's not like she needs refreshing her memory. She's only a couple of years older than me, and this only happened a couple of years ago. So it's tricky doing something that is as momentous as her career has been, and so many of her, she means so much to so many people. And what she has done to wrestling has meant so much to so many people, and just a slither of our storyline, which is the fact that she is different and she's totally proud of it. I think that was something that I really kind of clung on to, and I tried to do my best. But yeah, it's terrifying because also they can wrestle, and she's from a wrestling family, so they can just come and get you.
So you have to do the real life family justice, otherwise they'll get you.
Well, they break your legs. Yeah.
That's actually a really nice, not at all her segue into my next question for actually Jack and you as well, Florence. Both of your roles are really physically demanding. I mean, there's a really particular physicality to wrestling, but for you as performers, and how did you kind of, not get into shape, but how did you get into that state of mind or prepare for those really demanding roles?
Well, I had quite a distance to go because I was told quite quickly by Stephen that I was rather meek and nowhere near the size of Zach, who is a man mountain. And at that time, he actually plays the drug dealer at the end of the film. And was then, I'm going to get it wrong, bud, but you were about 18 stone? 21 stone. I was rounding down. Because
What were you at that time?
I think I was 12 stone.
Sure.
So I did a lot of work over 6 weeks because Steve only gave me 6 weeks. and ate like 5 meals a day and trained twice a day. And
So many packets of chicken.
loads of chicken. I took a big advantage of the Marks and Spencer's 3 for £7 chickens, which really did work out, and protein balls that were like 25 grams of protein a ball. If I wanted like 7 Big Macs, I was kind of encouraged to do so. So it was great, and I turned.
But you only put on a stone, which
Aye.
is weird.
Aye, well, you gave me 6 weeks, like. But I did. But like, I turned in very quickly into one of those people that stands at counters in like Waitrose and just Waitrose. But I was living in North London at the time. It would have been Sainsbury's normally, but I'd quickly turned into. I was very middle class at the time, but I was turned into one of those people that stares at the back of packets for like 5 minutes before they buy something, because I had to count the carbs and all that shite. And but yeah, it basically, yeah, I only put on a stone in a bit. I think it depends who I'm talking to. Sometimes I say I put on 5 stone in 6 weeks, but there's a lot of people here.
And Paige, can you tell us a little bit about your first reaction when you were told that someone was producing a big Hollywood movie about your life?
Well, so it was WrestleMania, which is the day before the big Raw, which I debuted on. And Dwayne had texted my phone while I was sitting in catering, and he was like, "Hey, it's DJ. I'd love to talk to you at some point today if you're not busy." You know, and I was like, "Who the hell is DJ? And why is he texting my phone?" And I turned to Demon Lego, and he was just like, "That's Dwayne Johnson, you idiot." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, Dwayne Johnson is texting my phone. This is like ballistic. What the?" And so like in the movie, someone coming and got me and took me, and he was just like, "Hey, it's DJ." And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, dude. Yeah." And he was like, "So I stumbled across your documentary," which Max Fisher is here today. He's the creator of the documentary. So wherever you are, put your hand up, Max. Yeah, well, Max. Thank you, Max. There he is. So Dwayne stumbled across Max's documentary that he did on us, and he fell in love with it. He fell in love with the family. He fell in love with the story. And he was like, "Okay, like, I want to make a movie on it." And I was like, "What?" Started crying my eyes out. It was like 30 seconds of then talking to him. And then he was like, "Oh, and by the way, tomorrow you're going to debut and you're going to win the Divas Championship." And I started crying aggressively even more. And then he was like, "And by the way, don't tell anyone this." And I'm like, "Right, got it." So I like, this is all my dreams come true on one, you know, in like 5 minutes, no exaggeration. And I walk out and I see Tamina Snooker, and she was just like, "Hey sis, are you okay?" I'm still crying my eyes out. And I was just like, "I'm just a really big fan of Dwayne." And then I called my family straight away, and it was the most surreal moment. Like it was just like, what the hell? Like, is this really gonna happen? And my family have a thing, especially my dad. He's just like, "Don't get your hopes up, because it won't happen. But if it does happen, I want Ray Winston to play me."
Sorry. So. I wanted Ray to play me too.
No, but when my dad saw Nick, he was like, "Yeah, he's actually pretty good, isn't he?" When he watched the movie. Right, Daddy-o? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What was your first reaction to seeing the finished film then?
Well, the first time, it was October 2017, and Stephen had brought it to the Performance Center because I was in neck rehabilitation. And he brought it into this private room, and he's like, "Look, I can't sit with you because I feel like I'm just going to stare at you the entire time and just to see if you even like it or not." So I was like, "Okay." So he like stepped outside the room, and I watched the whole thing in its entirety, and I was just crying my eyes out. I don't cry a lot, you guys, but it's a very emotional time for me. And yeah, I couldn't stop crying, and I remember texting Stephen, and I was like, "You have to come in this room. I can't walk out there with all those wrestlers. I can't stop crying." Like it was it was a flood of tears. And so I watched it again a couple of months ago in my house with my boyfriend, and I just fell in love with it. It was just, and I kind of stepped back from it for a second, and I was just watching how talented everyone on this cast is and how wonderful Stephen is at, you know, directing and writing the damn thing. It was just so incredible. And then I forget that it's my story because they're just such wonderful actors. And I'm like, "Well, did she make it? Did he make it?" And I'm like, "Oh wait, that's my story. Yes, I did make it." Yeah. So they're just incredible, and I thank them every day for it.
I mean, the thing that resonated for me the most about the story really is the fact that it kind of really redefines what success means for everyone and kind of what the pursuit of your dreams can mean for any one person. And that can be very different things. And I wanted to ask you particularly because it works as such a different thing. It's a comedy, it's a family film, it's a success story, it's a sports movie as well, and it's also about kind of everybody pursuing their own dreams. Did you have a particular set of things that you sort of wanted to subvert about how success and kind of failure can be presented on screen?
Well, the key line for me in the movie is when Paige says to her brother, just because a million people aren't cheering your name, it doesn't mean that what you do isn't important, And I just think, it chokes me up when I think about it because there's so many people in my life that, aren't being venerated. They don't get to come on stages and get people to applaud. And, including Zach. And I just think, we are in this age where celebrity and Instagram likes and all those things, particularly for a lot of younger people, feels like the validation and gives them that sense of self-worth. And actually, and it's easier when you're older to recognize that stuff is not as important as you think and that you can make a real difference on a very small scale in your community or among the people you know or whatever else. And I just think, so as much as it's a celebration of a person of exceptional ability who went to the great heights of her career, it's also a celebration of him and the things he's done in his life and the people he affects and the whole family, really. And I think that's, for me, a very important message,
Absolutely. Before I open it up to the crowd, I really wanted to ask, and kind of for all of you, really, was there one particular scene that was most difficult to film, either because of the production implications or because of the emotional kind of weight of it, or because you were just having a really bad day or something?
Well, let me just say that the hardest scene for me that I've ever done was the scene at the end there where she comes out in front of the fans and does the Monday Night Raw appearance. That was, we had 1 hour at a Monday Night Raw match after it had finished. They kept the fans back. We invited them to stay. We didn't just lock the doors and start running the cameras. But we only had an hour, and it was, lots to shoot, and it was the finale of the film, and it was the 4th day, I believe, of filming. And
third. It was the third day. Yeah.
All right, sorry. And and Dwayne came down. I call him Dwayne. And
as you do.
He came down to sort of MC the event, and I said to him, please don't get carried away. We've only got an hour. He did 20 minutes on the mic before we even turned the camera. He was doing selfies. He was talking to the fans. He was doing the catchphrases.
He called another wrestler.
He called another wrestler. Yeah. And
I was... Did he have a flamethrower as well?
That was at WrestleMania.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, he left that behind. But yeah, so I'm just sort of looking at him thinking, yeah, we can smell what you're bloody cooking, but get out of the fucking ring. And, but I mean, he was amazing because he kind of played the crowd like an orchestra, and he got them to cheer and boo and everything. And then, well, Florence, we can pick up the story. She had to walk out there in front of 20,000 fans, having done a week of wrestling training.
Yeah, I loved Stephen then. That was great. That was our third day, and the majority of our wrestle prep was just to get us ready for that main fight because it was the first one and obviously the most important one. But we were there and we were in LA for a couple of weeks beforehand training with Thea, who is an amazing famous wrestler now, and also Tessa Blanchard, who was my stunt double. They basically prepped me and got me ready and made me feel 100% before I went out. And then we went out at the end of Monday Night Raw. And I remember the walls were actually shaking because Dwayne had basically got everyone so excited. And then I went out and there was like many mixed emotions because Paige hadn't been wrestling for about a year. And as you can see, everybody loves Paige, whether you're a woman, a man, a child, you weirdo, like they loved her. And so when I walked out to her theme music, there was like screams of utter pleasure / like utter terror that it wasn't her, and then like a boos, the fact that I was coming out to her music but I wasn't actual Paige. Kids were shouting at me saying I sucked, and then like other kids were saying that I was amazing, and I was like, wow. It was totally manic but amazing, and I kind of understood exactly why they do what they do in that moment. and it's because you are a superhero for about 8 minutes, and you can do anything, and no matter what hurts and who punched you in the face, the adrenaline is just coming off you guys, and it is the most fantastic feeling. So it was terrifying. Probably weed myself about 7 times.
We had to cut around that.
Yeah.
I think for a young woman, you should probably see someone about that.
Yeah, I've been doing my exercises.
Pop and see a urologist.
Yeah.
I think for me, sitting opposite Julia Davis, watching her trying to eat a spring roll was the hardest thing I did, because it went on for days and was terrible. It was very funny to watch.
What about yourself, Jack?
I was in the crowd when Flo did that in the Staples Center in Los Angeles in front of like 20,000 people, and so that was very easy for me because I was just in the audience. But to hear "I'm from Norwich" shouted in the Staples Center really moved me like fuck. It was really wonderful just to hear that shouted. In terms of the hardest scene, I don't know. I think I've said this before, but I spent a large majority of the film with my back to camera because I just kept laughing so much. Because working with like Nick and Stephen, particularly in that dinner scene that Nick just mentioned, it took a lot longer than we thought. It took a lot longer than filming a scene in front of 20,000 people in the Staples Center, round a dinner table in a studio somewhere in West London. Seemed to take a lot longer because Stephen and Nick just have this rapid sense of humor that me and Florence just couldn't keep up with. And I just spent a lot of the time, as I've said, backting instead of acting.
I think if you watch the film again, one of my favourite things to look out for is Ricky eats hot dogs because he doesn't want to eat any of the Chinese food. So he eats hot dogs, which is a really good little touch. Let's have a look at it.
I think this is a lovely moment to open up to the crowd. So if anybody's got questions, put your hands up and a microphone will find you.
Well, you don't arrive at a wrestling move until you have a wrestling persona. And I was doing a lot of research for this, and Dwayne, did I mention I'm friends with Dwayne? He told me the important thing is you take a part of yourself and you dial it up to 100. And I thought, well, I'm an English writer, so I would come out dressed as Shakespeare. I'd have the white ruff around the neck, but I'd be shirtless. I would say things like, to beat you or not to beat you, that is the question. Wait, you're saying, Steve, what's your stage name? Thanks for asking. It would be a play on the play The Merchant of Venice, using my last name, Merchant of Menace. And my finishing move would it be a little play on the classic Hamlet, be called quite simply Slamlet. There you go. There is an extended outtake of us just failing to get through the dinner scene that goes on for quite a while. That's just a lot of giggling and
you sucking noodles for a while.
me sucking
as well.
noodles. Yes, remember it's you explaining all the different bones you've broken?
Yeah, I tried to name every bone in the human body, but I couldn't.
You couldn't get through it.
Couldn't get
Tibula,
through it.
fibula.
I was laughing too much. Fibia, tibia, radius, ulna. I was trying to remember as many as I could. But yeah, we couldn't get through many.
Couldn't get through them, yeah.
I always love it when you say to Julia, did you have another question? That was supposed to be like, it's just a weird thing to say to your wife.
Yeah, I mean, that scene was about, the first cut of that was about 10 minutes long. I mean, it would have been absurd. It was almost like a sitcom in itself, you know. I don't think we got all of it in the DVD.
I got sent they said, oh, do you want to have a look at the dinner table scene? I was like, oh, brilliant. My girlfriend's here. And I said, should we watch the thing? Why don't we watch this? And we put it on, and it's like 20 minutes of outtakes of this dinner scene. And like 10 minutes in, I thought, ooh, the end finishes with me kissing Lena. I should have. And then I said to my girlfriend, hey, let's not bother. Let's turn this off. And she was like, no, what are you doing? Want to finish it? And I had to say, oh, hey, I should probably say. And I had to. Didn't go well. And then when we watched it, she really dug her nails into my leg.
Oh.
She really dug her nails into my leg.
Let's look at a clip.
Let's have a look. Let's look at the marks her nails left in my leg.
it's wonderful because that's like the message that I wanted to get across when I got to the WWE, that like being yourself is your superpower, and just being wholehearted yourself and not changing for anybody. I mean, I did change like in the film. I mean, my hair wasn't that blonde. I mean, if I would have dyed my hair that blonde, it would have fallen out. But I did change my hair and I tried to conform and it just didn't work for me. Like being yourself is the thing that's gonna make you a success in whatever you wanna do. And I just love the fact that little girls and little boys are looking up to me that way. And like hopefully they walk away from this movie too feeling inspired by my story, by my brother's story, by my family's story.
I'm afraid we need to wrap up here, but thank you so much for your time, and that's such a beautiful note to end on as well, because this is such an empowering movie for young women and girls, I'd say.
But it's also for middle-aged men who are thinking about growing a moustache. I thought I did. I set a wonderful example there.
I think you really did.
It was just a beautiful.
It's an audience we need to
thing,
cherish.
and not at all
Yeah.
creepy.
Thank you all so much. And the film comes out next week on Wednesday.
No, this week on Wednesday, I think.
Next week, 27th.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, 27th.
Oh yeah, this is this week. Yeah,
No, it's Monday today.
Is it?
Yeah.
it's Monday.
Oh, Wednesday, day after tomorrow.
On Wednesday, day after tomorrow. So tweet about it, tweet the hell out of it, and encourage all your friends, and especially young girls to go and see
Absolutely,
it.
yes, thank
And congratulations to all of you on an amazing, amazing film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.